clicking the go live button here. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so welcome to the webinar, live trading webinar here. It's live analysis Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. JTrader tomorrow, live trading stocks, and then futures on Thursday with Scott Pulsini. So let's stocks rolling here, and then futures, and jump into the markets after we go through the risk disclosure here quickly. Please understand, though, that this is all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, let's jump right in and see what's going on here. All right, so we had some CPI data earlier this morning, mostly in line. The core was a bit off, but we saw some volatility, as you can see here at 8:30 in this nice move to the upside. And high liquidity filled up here. Okay, you guys will note again and again how, well, you can even see the volatility around this area here if we zoom in, and how liquidity is pulled before the event until the numbers comes out, and you'll see usually price go to areas where they do stay in the order book, okay, like here, for example. And then when they come back into the order book as well, everything kind of lights back up again. All right, so we're going to look at, you can see we had a kind of a sideways consolidation with a slight move to the upside, and then 8:30, 9:30 move to the downside, and then right back up. So basically looking at the cash open and the data here at 8:30, we've been bullish here. You can see the bullish move. High liquidity up here in these areas here at 9:30, come in at what is this? This is about 44.90, and then also up here just above the figure at 45.06 or so. All right, so maybe we can see price rise up into these areas later in the session. I want to take a step back, though, and let's go over a higher time frame first. The daily chart here on the left, hourly in the middle, and then on the right hand side we have the 15-minute chart here. All right, you want to look at AMD. Looks like we can do that. Good morning, Techie Girl. All right, so let's take a quick look here. Hold on. At the higher time frame, and what I want to go over is the daily chart here. These are the levels we were looking at yesterday. All right, so we were yesterday we were talking about the swing here, and the day started off, and we're looking for a test of that area. It was around 40. Okay, so I'm sorry, maybe we're dropping below that area there, and then we're looking for a continuation down to this swing here. I recall it was 44.13 or so that we were discussing. That's where the price went the rest of the day. So what I'm driving at here is top-down approach and understanding kind of the order flow just from the candlesticks here to give you kind of higher time frame levels to then kind of generate a plan from, and what to look for in Bookmap to give you direction toward some of these levels here, or away from some of these levels. All right, so the hourly chart here, you can see all of the back and forth in here, and then we see this move down into the even below the 13 here. Okay, a bit below it, back down to basically the figure here at 4,400, and then we're right back up now. All right, in fact, we have the potential now to fill the gap that we were looking at yesterday. Okay, so maybe back up into 75, or a complete gap fill would be around 85 or so up here. All right, so we can take a look at that, and we've already marked up that level over here on the 15-minute chart. Let's just make it a little bit better there. All right, okay, so we're in gap territory, as you guys can see. Now the question here, looking at the 15-minute chart, is, are we accepting up at these levels here, okay, above this swing high here, and this is around 58 or so. Okay, this was from yesterday cash session here, right? So we are above it, or are right around it, I would say, and we want to understand the order flow here. Okay, are we going higher? What we looked at in Bookmap here, up here around this 91 and or 92, and then up here around this 4506. Okay, let's align that here. Why is there high liquidity up there? Okay, so the 92 level, where is that? It's up here, way up here. And this is kind of where it is up here. And then that 4506 is way up here. Okay, it's pretty far away, and that's asking for a lot here. But we can see the initial drive here in the cash session, pretty good, pretty strong. We're taking a bit of a pause right now, probably getting some profit taking up in this area here, and a bit of a pullback here on the 15-minute. In fact, let's drill down into a 5-minute. And take a look at some of this order flow here. Okay, and I'm gonna have to go back to 1 day look out. All right, so yeah, makes sense. I mean, we could even see a further drop here on a very steep pullback. Not seeing too much in here for areas of the pullback. I mean, maybe the wick here. There's some previous wicks over here. You can barely see, but maybe a bounce around this 50 level sounds pretty good, and then maybe looking for a move back up. Okay, so that's one of the scenarios here. If we get more selling coming in, then we're looking for a move back down into maybe the swing here around 43, or maybe even down into some of these other wicks or areas down here around 36. Okay, so just kind of outlining some areas to look at in Bookmap and understand the order flow here. All right, so let's jump into Bookmap and take a look here, and let me know if you guys have any questions, and we can answer them in live market here. All right, so some liquidity filled down here. Okay, nice move on the pullback here, and here they are at 50. That was our pullback we were just discussing, and let's see if we can get some sellers into that area here. You can see that just right now we had a skew in the order book here with some high liquidity coming in on the offer, showing some supply here. The reaction was some sellers. Okay, let's see if we get some more sellers here right now at 54, and maybe they can move it down into our 50 level. Okay, there's an iceberg down there currently in the market, just one transacted. All right, let's see here. Let's make these volume dots a little bit bigger. All right, sellers, let's see if you can do it. No, that's not at all what we're looking for. A bounce back up here. Okay, let's see if we can get back down here. We're going to zoom in a little bit closer here. Okay, so it did auction down here, and then it immediately rejected and came right back up. You can see though where it went, top of the range here. Okay, now we have some buyers back up above the top of the range. Okay, so likely they can get back up into this kind of 56 or 57 level here. Okay, and then maybe we can get even a breakout of it, but might be asking a little too much. Let's see. There we go. Okay, back up to the top of the range here. All right, really curious to see if this is going to fail. There's some exhaustion, there's some supply. Okay, but they're bidding up here. let's see if we get our sellers back down here, back to point of control, and maybe back to the other side of the range here, and looking for a false breakout here. Okay, now in the order flow here, I can say should. No, I like the suggestion and likely. That I think it sounds pretty good. Here's our move back into and trying to get through point of control. We need to see those sellers really push it through here, right around 55 here. Okay, and then we can get down to 50, or at least bottom of the range, and then maybe our 50 level here. Okay, so nice little kind of failed breakout. And now it still might trend here. Okay, we need to get through the this kind of point of control area here. You can see it bouncing at the moment, right? So it's still kind of bullish activity basically, because it bounced off of this here. We need to see sellers push through that area if we're going to get to the other side of the range here. Okay, so now this breakout has the potential for working to the upside here. Okay, and you can see what's happening already. It's not even getting back up into there, and that now we're back to that scenario here, looking for sellers to push it through back down to 52 and maybe our 50 level, and maybe a little bit below that as well. Okay, so let's see if these sellers can muster the not really seeing it yet. In fact, we're seeing them bid up a little bit here. All right, sellers, come on, let's see you push through back down below into some of these areas here. Okay, you've tapped the other side of the range. It failed, but we need to see sellers down here. That's really the key. If we don't get them, then they're not going to drive it back down to the bottom of these levels here. And we're reading the order book in here, and the read right now is like we're open to these scenarios. We're not seeing anything tip us off right now. Okay, we're not getting too much insight. We're looking for that scenario to unfold, and it didn't really tell us much in these areas here. And here's the result. We're back and forth. Okay. Now we do have this high demand. It just came in here at 55, and it seems to be kind of repelling the sellers here and finding buyers instead. They pulled, now you can see it's just back and forth in here. So again, like I think what's really kind of key here when we're reading the order flow here, and you can see we're not getting too much out of it. I mean, it's not telling us much, and we just sit, we wait for something to give us much better insight and clarity here. Okay, we have a nice little move down here. It's a little bit of a stop run, but still no clarity yet in this small range here. Okay, if we get our sellers here again, okay, we just exhausted out here, looking for our sellers here, and still nothing. Okay, there they go. All right, sellers should be able to drop this a bit lower here, or likely to drop this. There we go. And it's exhausting, but let's zoom in a bit closer. Here they go. All right, so it's auctioning. All right, there we go. There's our 52, looking for 50. And 50 is a nice level here. I mean, it's a pretty key level here, to be honest. Not only is it the big figure, you can see VWAP. I have VWAP and point of control there. And look at this breakout here. So there's a lot of things going on at this 50 level here. All right, so yeah, that's a very, very key level for today, and a very look at this massive transaction down here, one price level transaction. There we go. There's our 50. Okay, and through it. That's kind of surprising. I'm looking for a bounce around this 50 level. Maybe this is going to be a stop run below and then a move back up, and so we're going to be open to that, and we're looking for buyers here around 50 and a half. Okay, we're looking for the book to show some demand in here, and we want to find our buyers in here. And nothing so far. Okay, it's still exploring to the downside here. Okay, this is a nice move though. We have some big icebergs in here, and we also have the stop run here. Okay, so looking for here come our buyers. All right, let's see them try to move it back up to this liquidity here at 53. That would be the anticipated move here. Okay, they're pulling at 53. Now we can get back up into 53 is a good area in here for maybe 53 and a half. Yeah, the way that you can consider some management in here to reduce some risk, maybe take a position off. All right, and try to hold a runner here. Or, if you're bullish for the day, which, we don't have any reason to think differently from the cash session here, then maybe we can get to 60, maybe we can get up into 70, and the higher time frame up into these much higher levels up here around the big figure, okay, 4,500. Now that's asking a lot based off some small order flow events in here. But open to these scenarios, and we're going with the trend here. Okay, so as you can see, like I'm kind of outlining, there's so many different ways to trade this depending on your time frame. Okay, so you might be looking for much higher time frame and holding for these levels. So you just spliced into and optimize your trade with a great entry. Okay. Now this is not a recommendation. This is just things to consider for your trading plan or your trading optimization here. Okay, it failed to get through the point of control basically of this range up here. As you can see, it bounced into it, and we've kind of faded back down. Now let's get some insight now. Okay, one of the scenarios, if we're bullish here, and the scenario we're looking for is these buyers up at this level here, some exhaustion here on the sell side, buyers in here, and we need to see them push through 55. Okay, with a lot of volume. You can see we're getting one more test right back down here to 50. Good morning, David. Stream is full. Yes. I'm only streaming one. Maybe you may have to jump over to YouTube, or you will have to jump over to YouTube. Okay, thanks, David. All right, and there is a little bit of a delay in there in YouTube, just a few seconds, but and that's on YouTube side, so that if there's disconnection issues, that there's at least you have some data already buffered. All right, well, you can see why, like on shorter time frame here, consider taking some profits up in these areas, because these are just higher probability outcomes that we're looking for this move right now to work for this time frame. Okay, now that higher time frame, we don't know, but it's still in play here. In fact, here's our double bottom pattern. Okay, we have sellers on the downside here. Would like to see some more buying actually come in a bit more up here, and it is kind of, you can see though, like heavy selling here, taking control, but buyers really tested up here, and we're back down again though. Okay, and we're not seeing a whole lot of volume here. We're looking for these buyers to spike it here, so let's see if we get it here, because they've already auctioned here at the top of this range around 51 3/4. Okay, we need to get our buyers back up here again, and then we can come right back to 55 here. Okay, and then break out from 55. Watch the auction up here at 55. Okay, that scenario we were looking for up here, looking for, you know, another rotation up to this area, and then the potential spike up into 60 here. Okay, so look at them testing the market in here, 54, 53, liquidity coming in, starting to find buying interest. All right, buyers, this is, we've rotated in here a few times. Let's look to see if they can break this here and back up into 55. Nothing yet. Okay, pulling on the offer. Let's see if we get our buyers in here. Nothing yet. Yep, nothing shaking so far. Okay, instead we're getting sellers here. Okay, back down below, stop run, beauty. Okay, 272 on the stop run. All right, right back again. All right, buyers, let's see if you can make it to the other side of the range. 52, and then buy continues, and then up to 55 here. Okay, this is a really nice stop run in here, guys. Like, you know, right into high liquidity down here, and then the bounce right out of it, getting buyers up here. Let's see it, buyers. We've got a couple of rotations up here, and it did auction here, so we got some buyers up here. One more rotation and some buyers, and I think we can get our breakout and move back up into maybe 55. Okay, some liquidity here at 53.5. All right, buyers, let's see if you got it here. A little wind at our back, so a little more in the order book here would be great on the bid. Okay, here we go. Buyers show up. Let's see. Cannot. Nothing yet. Now, this is why, like, you know, we look for something that's more likely to unfold when we can see the buyers up here, because this is what happened here. So now we talked about this the other day, about because the order flow is shifted, it changed. Right here, this kind of sweep lower, we already had the stop run here, so I'm looking for them to drive it the other way. We're getting the move and continuation to the downside through 50. I'm still looking for buyers to reattack this area here back up to point of control, and maybe through it, but you know, nothing yet. In fact, sellers are trying to drive it away from that area here, and they are driving it away from that area. Got some icebergs here, some stops as well. Let's see if we can get buyers right here around 46 3/4. There's our skew in the book. A little volatility going on in here. Interesting. Okay, looking for our buyers here, and then looking for a sweep up into 49 and 50, back to point of control. Okay, careful here, careful. I can get one more leg down and then get that move back up. Okay, we're still in the consolidation in the range. Okay, some buying interest right now. Let's see if we can get up here, get our buyers, and then the sweep higher. No, not at all. Okay, another iceberg, 500, or it's the same iceberg, I'm sorry. God, I love this on-chart iceberg. Look at that. That's just amazing to see. Look at that. It's huge. Okay, there's 1,200, 1,300, 1,700, 2,000 icebergs. Look at that absorption, guys. All right, if we get up here, we should get the move higher, back to point of control, a minimum. Kind of looking for that as a likely scenario here. They're still in the book. They're still absorbing. Look at that, guys. This is amazing to see. Okay, look for them. Look for the buyers here. Oh, even shifted and moved it lower. Look at that, devious. Okay, still looking for buyers up here, and then the move higher. This is really smart. Move it back down like that, and try to get a better fill on the iceberg. More stops triggered as well. Okay, if you want insight to some of the larger players here, that's it. And they got as much on as they could, and then they moved it lower. Okay, let's see if they chase. In fact, I'm curious to see if they'll even chase. I've seen stocks, icebergs and stocks just by witnessing it. We didn't have the iceberg detector when I actually was demoing this to a user. Okay, there we go. So executed for 3,000. Okay, fully executed here at this price, 44. All right, so keep an eye on this 44 level here if we get buyers back up above it. Yeah, that's going to be a critical level right there at 44. Okay, let's just mark it up. Okay, here we go. Let's see it, buyers. All right, so back up here, 46, and let's see if we can get our move back to point of control and VWAP here, and likely or look for the potential for the move through it back up to the top of this range here at 55. Okay, this pullback, where did this pullback come to as well? Let's take a look here. Sorry guys, going through the yeah, I'm sorry, I can't open another stream right now. You'll have to go over to YouTube, Vindich. Okay, just go to our YouTube channel. This is beautiful stuff though, guys, like to see, like, 3,000 icebergs filled in here, and looking for this mean reversion type of trade here. So it's a weird mean reversion as well. Look at this point of control. It's just one level here with a spike. Okay, and in the profile there, which is kind of odd. So it's not like a huge kind of bell-shaped curve with a beautiful high volume node in there. Nonetheless, like looking for these buyers to see if they're interested here due to this iceberg activity. Okay, here we go. This is more likely now. Okay, we're auctioning up here. Okay, there's some exhaustion, looking for buyers to lift it right now up to here, top of the range, and then let's see if we can get our follow through here. Now, what I was going to mention earlier, and with a huge caveat, is the likelihood, or the see how it had to rotate one more time here, and then now we're getting it. Okay, and now we should get continuation as well. Looking for it, likely to get continuation. But this scenario is a little different in here than what I was going to cover earlier. But what I want to talk about here is some trade management, because we're looking for these buyers on the other side here, right? Okay, what precedes that? what typically precedes that before you get these buyers on the other side here? At the bottom of the range, what would you be looking for that would help you? Here comes our scenario, guys. Looking for the follow through now, 50 and through. Let's see if we can even get through 50. Beautiful little bull flag here starting to set up. Okay, and again, bull flag, let's just talk about what it is. Don't worry about the term bull flag. Instead, what we really want to know is the order flow that makes up this pattern, and it's failing here. Yeah, it's totally failing. I was looking for a nice move, sideways consolidation, and then move higher back up into 50 here. Okay, so exhaustion of sellers, beautiful. That's it. Travel and trade. That's exactly what I was looking for. No volume and exhaustion. So now when it's like a low volume pullback as well. It's very similar. You see how there's similarities to these things. There's kind of a rhyme or rhythm to them. You know, we're looking for exhaustion down here because we're looking for the scenario for, due to some of the other order flow phenomena over here and activity that we saw, we're looking for buyers to come in and start to lift this, and then we're looking for buyers up at this level here, and what precedes that is exhaustion at the bottom of these other levels in here. All right, so if we're looking for that and we're looking for the buyers up here, then we want to see the auction failing down here, exhausting out, not trading down here, trading up here instead. Okay, so this looks good. I think I mentioned it in here. They tapped it one more time here, and then finally came in and then moved it back up to 47, top of this little range here. And then we're looking for the breakout and the move back up into 50. Okay, and it only got as high as 48 here, and that's it. And then you can see we're missing the move here down to the downside, but that was the scenario. And what was dangerous or something to be attentive about is starting to understand some of these other levels in here, where if you're anticipating that up here, okay, buyers up here, and then the move higher, be very careful here, because you know, sellers took it down here, we're sideways consolidation, and you got trend continuation here, but you're anticipating that move. Now if you saw like this big move and then big buying up here and then exhaustion on the pullback in here, that would be different to anticipate. If this was an uptrend, sideways consolidation, pullback, and then large trading up here and exhaustion here, that would be much better. And then you're looking for exhaustion here. You're kind of reducing the risk and looking for the more likely move to at least test up here. So what I'm talking about here is, in trade management, you look for that exhaustion in these areas, and more or less like a low volume pullback. And then you're looking, it's just bottom of the range though, but then you're looking for at least the move to the top of the range. Okay, and you can reduce some risk there. That would be a scalp, of course, in these small trades, but it could be a large range that you're looking at as well. It could be huge. It could be for the day, and you could be looking for the same scenario, and then you're looking for the likelihood for the continuation because of the trend move. Okay, so this you have the trend going against you, which is not good. All right, so anyway, be very careful about that, and anticipating. The exhaustion precedes it, but it could fail. and then move right against you very, very quickly. Now, that's the risk that you take. Okay, you got to take the risk in trading, and that's that. There's no way around that one. So that's the risk, but you also have great reward with that risk. What is my iceberg setting on the ES? Let me show you here. Yeah, it's not showing up in here unless it's a certain amount. The on chart. Now the sub chart is showing every single iceberg and every single stop. You can see my axes here are not aligned, and many more icebergs in here than there are, or negative icebergs in here than stops in here. Okay, so here's an iceberg for still in the market, 115 already transacted right here. So it looks like it's a pretty big one. It's over 100 for sure. Okay, nice stop run here as well, 400. And what I like about this setup here is the this context. Okay, so this is the sub chart indicator, and the way I have it on the settings here at summation, very, very just blunt and simple, is cumulative volume delta, but there's two different lines, two different axes here, but I have the context between the two. Okay, I know that this is a lot of icebergs here, and then we measured it here with 3,000. We know that, and then we know there's a lot of stops here too. Okay, just about 400, and we have this context though. So this iceberg, although they got filled here and absorbed a lot, you know, price has gone against them. This is where it's tricky with icebergs, you know, larger players can have price go against them, and they can still get filled and average their position. Okay, so let's go to the on chart indicator. That was the question. So let me get in here and stops and icebergs on chart. Okay, and this is the setting I have here. I have it on the automatic threshold, and once you click on the automatic threshold here, okay, you can see that it's grayed out, but it says you know, 1122 here, right? If I deselect that, now I can change this manually to whatever I want. Input a value in here. I can put in 2000, whatever. Okay, let's go back to the automatic threshold. Click back on it, and it goes back to 1124 now, based on standard deviation within 60-minute time frame. Okay, and a standard deviation multiplier of 3. If I want to bring that down to 1 point or just 1, okay, standard deviation 417. Show me icebergs of 417 or greater. Okay, I really like this filter. I think it's nicely done. Okay, here we go. Another huge iceberg. That 115 still in here. Okay, here's a transaction for 759. It's still in here. Here's 874. Okay, and let's see it. There we go. Still in here, still ticking. And goes right through it. Interesting. Okay, did it execute? No, they actually wow, look at this. Okay, they moved it right before, so they did not get filled there, and still in the market here with 914. Okay, this is, see the behavior here of this player. This is most likely the same player over here that moved it away as well, to try to get a better fill. So larger players able to get, you know, put on size 3,000, unbelievable, and then put on another 900 after that. Okay, likely the same player. Okay, they're defending this area down here. You can see, look at the iceberg transactions in here too. 1415 right here. And let's zoom into that area. Okay, and let's mark these areas up here because we want to see really what's going on in here. In fact, this guy chased here with his iceberg. He's afraid that he's not going to get filled. He wants to get filled. So he chased after it and got filled. Executed for 1,415. All right, let's mark that up. Okay, it's a zone here. And let's zoom out. All right, and let's just reduce the heat map here for a second. Okay, so that's the level up here. Okay, and you can see how they defended it here. Another 3,000. Now it's going against them, and they're still in here buying. Really interesting dynamic. So let's see if we based on this, and this is why we look at when we look at order flow here, it rules first. Okay, icebergs come second, or stops and icebergs, or CVD, or whatever it might be, VWAP, etc. It always is secondary. The order flow rules the market, and then we look for these as confluences in here to support these ideas. All right, there's a lot of questions in here, or a few questions in here. Thank you, Cart. Hit that like button. Yeah. What is the difference between sweeps and absorption indicator? Aziz, yeah, the sweeps and absorption kind of mimic some of the stops and icebergs behavior. It's very different though. The sweeps is showing, well, maybe I'll start with absorption indicator. I'll show that in just a minute here. So just give me a moment here. I want to kind of catch up with some of the other questions in here and see what's going on. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so the absorption indicator, let me show that. And I don't want to take too much time going through some of these things unless we see something significant in the order flow. Then it's better to cover it at that point. The reason being is that we're here to read the live market. Okay. So let's see these transactions. This 910 here. Let's turn the heat map on a little bit more. These 914 here. Well, yeah, in order of importance, basically order flow first, and then sweeps, and then exhaustion. And I mean, it really depends. Then after that, like what we want to read is in the order flow, price structure first, then the volume within that price structure. And then the context of the order book within that price structure as well. So price structure, I mean, look at this move to the downside. Like, who's in control? Okay. And where? Well, sellers moved it away here. This is why we look for these kinds of moves. And consolidation, movement. Sellers consistent selling all the way through. Consolidation, more selling coming in. So we're, in order flow is telling us we're bearish in here, looking for trend continuation until we see something different. Okay. We've been looking for the buy side in here due to the confluence, and you can see how maybe that kind of tripped me up a little bit. I'm looking for it. I'm waiting for that scenario, and I miss these moves to the downside. Okay, due to like additional insight in here of these icebergs. Okay, so let's just zoom out and look at our higher time frame levels to maybe we can get a little bit better insight with the confluence here of the icebergs by looking at structure. And the swing low would be down here is you can see it in the profile as well. There's a ledge here, fall off the ledge here and fill in this with a lot of selling, and that's due to the CPI data over here, 830, and we might fill that in. All right, let's see if we do. Okay, here comes more selling. Okay, iceberg is still in here. This is why order flow rules, right? And look here, another 3,000 icebergs. You think it's the same guy? It's got to be. 3,000 executed over here, 3,000 executed over here. Behavior was similar, moving it away, etc. All right, so I think we can leave that to rest. We've identified that player. So yeah, you can see that even with 6,000 icebergs in here, the order flow is ruling the market. You get a 6,000 up here too, selling. Interesting. Canceled up here after 21. Okay, so I don't know. Was he selling here and then covering here? No way to tell. Well, we know that these are they're buying. The icebergs are buying here. We know that. We just don't know if they're entering or exiting. That's a good question. Nice McDonald's M. Yeah. Yeah, with a little bit of a skew to it. I like it, David. Yeah, thank you. All right, well, I'm really curious down here. We're kind of down at this ledge here. Are we going to try to, see people try to auction back into this area here? Now, if you talk about like auction market theory and these areas, we're not even talking about volume profile really. We're talking about auction market theory. Is that it blew through these areas due to the CPI data over here. It didn't really explore and auction into these areas to see if they're kind of fair prices. So the theory is it needs to kind of come back here and test some of these areas and see if there's people willing to trade in these areas in here. Okay, you probably hear all the time the markets they're designed to facilitate trade, right? And that's part of the theory here. That it would come back down into these levels here and see if there is desire to trade into these areas, or are we going to reject? Okay, so if we look at where things have traded, they've traded up here in this big huge volume cluster up here. So this would be a range bound trade, and you'd be looking for it to either exhaust out here or a stop run into this area, and then buyers on the other side to reach back up into the middle of these ranges here. Okay, so if that's your trading style and you're looking for it, great. All right, so then let's look for it in here as well in this setup. It makes sense though. We have now a higher time frame range in here to consider. And this larger iceberg in here, we have our stop run, we have everything here. We're looking for buyers here, and then we're looking for them to move it back up. Now, the caveat here is we're still in a downtrend, and we're still, sellers are in control. However, we have a lot more information now. A lot more information here. Okay, we're at a higher time frame level in this uptrend. Okay, and this swing here. All right, so we're looking for a kind of mean reversion at that point, and we still stay with the downside until we see something different. But look how buyers came in here, and look at the retest here already. Now looking for buyers back up here, and let's see if we can break above this little range here as well as our trend line. And then we'd be looking for a move back up. Well, really the first stop would be where they dropped it here, which also is a little high volume node here, okay, around 38 3/4. and maybe they can bring it back up into above that, into the swings up here, 42, 44, and then still really curious, looking for these traders to get back up into the back to a point of control in VWAP here. VWAP has you can see kind of dribbled off here, back down to around 48 or so. All right, so we're looking for that. We're still looking for that scenario here, and you can see where buyers did take. Well, they're trying to take control here. Sellers, all that selling in here, but it is a stop run. Right, so buyers in here bouncing off of here, looking for them to extend it here. So up here at 36, looking for the buyers here. Let's just zoom in. Okay, let's see them bid up underneath here. Let's see them pull on the offer, and looking for the buyers here, and then looking for the move higher. Okay, so like we mentioned, this is more likely to unfold now. We have all these other things on our side here. Okay, we have a higher time frame level that we're looking at. Now we're looking for the order flow around that higher time frame level here. Okay, if this accepts higher, next one is 39, and then back up to top of the range, 42. And we mark this up here due to these icebergs in here. But I still like the move back up into these levels up here. Here's why we had that big, you can see the big volume dot here. It immediately changed point of control from the moment of inception, and it still rules here. It is the highest volume node up here. Yeah, I like these M's and W's as well, David. This M here, beauty. For those of you who like to trade M's and W's and talk about that, well, you can look at this candlestick chart here and start to understand also what's going on in the order flow up here on this move higher. So let's actually take a quick look at that. And I will get to AMD here. I do want to cover that. I'm seeing something a little different than your M. Quite different there, David. This actually went higher here in Bookmap is what I'm seeing. Okay, we started the webinar after that area here. That was the NQ. Okay. Yeah. Well, you can see in the NQ in your chart there, and let's just jump over here because, I'd love to look at it in Bookmap in this pattern up here. This is where it's trying. Buyers are trying and they just can't do it. Buyers up here into high liquidity. Buyers up in here. Let's just reduce the heat map a little bit. Buyers up in here. Steep pullback. Buyers come back up again. They can't make a higher high up here. Boy, this would have been really good to look at it in the S&P as well. Talk about correlated markets. This is where it looks pretty good, like it's going to accept. The buying looks pretty good, and then look at the move back down. Interesting. Usually you see this kind of move here, down here, and then sellers trying to drive it lower. It's a little bit higher, so a little bit back and forth, and then the sellers. See how we can match up here and match up over here. Okay, buyers taking control, sellers testing that, and then taking control to the downside. Okay, look at the retest back up to retest that area as well. Continuation. All right, trying again, can't even make it. Sellers come in, take it back down. Okay, we should take a look at NASDAQ more often. It's got some really pretty moves in here like that. I really like it. Okay, S&P kind of testing this area in here, and let's see if we can get it here. All right. Yeah, Moss. The only reason that I was a little confused there. I think maybe a little biased with the starting to read the icebergs at certain levels, and just have to remind myself again and again as well. Like it's really order flow first, always, always. It's like reading you know uh, the tracks in the sand. You can see like where traders are committing themselves. All right, let me add AMD in here, and we'll take a quick look at that. Uh, Hold on a minute. DX feed, AMD. Let me add a little bit more data in here. Okay, it's trading into high liquidity around 96. High liquidity down here, and front running 96 actually. Well, not too much insight here. I mean, I do like this high liquidity down here, and also the front running of it. So that's showing more demand, and yeah, just trying to see if we can maybe break some of these areas in here on some high volume, and look for that order book to help us out here as well. Okay, you can see them testing right now. Okay, let's see if we can get up to 97. Maybe a quick pullback here, 96 and 60, 96.60. No, they're going to go right for it. 97 looks like. Hey, ES should probably be turning around as well. It is. Okay. So yeah, we're up into the level where we dropped from here. Let's turn this heat map back up a little bit. And they pulled up here. All right, buyers, let's see it. We've been waiting to see when these buyers can try to bring it back to mean reversion. Get some insight here. Okay, buying on the bid, they got filled by sellers, so there was some selling interest. They played into it, and we haven't seen any follow through after that big event here, this transaction. We're looking for follow through after that, and we don't have any clarity yet. So here we go with the buyers. Let's see if they can get back up here for 39.5, and then nothing auctioned up here, nothing, and it was a lower high here, so not surprised to see sellers come right back in. Okay, book showing some interest here. I like it. Do we see a reaction here by buyers? Okay, so let's see it. I'm looking for it. Looking for buyers up here, and then the break higher, back up into yeah, our 42 level up here. I like it. 42 looks pretty good. So there's our scenario, looking for these buyers here. This would be a kind of a move higher, consolidation above the structure. Okay, here's our structure. Here's our other structure. Okay, bottom of the range. All right. You know, we're discussing. We've talked a lot about low volume pullbacks. Something comes to mind in here is starting to understand, like, if this is a low volume pullback, kind of within the range here. Okay, and I'm getting my answer, and I I was kind of I didn't want to allude to the downside on this one, but I would want to pose the question of why in here, like, I'm looking for this and anticipating a move back up here and more buying, but what it was telling me in here that wasn't as likely to unfold. Okay, what do you guys think? Techie girl, this is right up your alley. To start to understand, we're talking about kind of pullbacks. Well, we're talking about moves within the range and kind of using the knowledge of a low volume pullback and the order flow of a low volume pullback, but within a range. Yeah, no buyers at the top. You guys are getting it. No buyers at the top of the range, and look at the selling. Okay, look at the selling in here, right? So is this where we need to see the buyers up here? Okay, and we need to see like, in fact, we can read the opposite in here. Sellers taking control, trying to move it away from that range here. Here's our pullback to it, and this is low volume. This is the low volume pullback here, actually. It would be better to see a little more selling up here, but this is the low volume pullback here. If we get our sellers here, it makes sense we'd get the break. Okay, David, nice trading. Yeah, I'm still looking for this kind of mean reversion type of trade too. And just not getting anything or no follow through. In fact, tons of selling really picked up in here. Okay, that's why, like, we really got to, like, it's best to clear your mind of biases and just read the order flow. Like, order flow is telling us, like, it wants to trade back down here at 33.5 here. There it goes. Okay, and if it can do that, and we still see more sellers looking for follow through to the bottom of this range here. Okay, 31.25. Okay, so, and looking for a nice stop run down here too. Yeah, I'm so bad. That's great. I mean, like, love to hear that. I mean, once you start to recognize some of that up in here, um, the likelihood of that being kind of a low volume pullback and anticipating back down here some exhaustion and then a move back up here, it's a lot less because we're not getting what we wanted up here. And in fact, the sellers took, the big selling bar and stream of dots is here. Okay, also over here, right? So we're reading that. We're reading that in context of this range here. We don't want to see that if we're going to get our breakout of, strong move, consolidation, strong move to the upside. Yeah, so David, you're looking for maybe the drop off the cliff here, and back into this kind of poorly auctioned area in here, and try to discover if there's any kind of interest in trading in here. Yeah, we might. Okay, let's read the order flow within these ranges. All right, so in this range here, like maybe someone point out something in here kind of looks pretty good where they took control, and then what you would kind of look for in continuation. Okay, it happened around 11:06. So yeah, it's right in this area here, right? Moving it away from this range up here, 11:06. Sellers retest back up here. Here's our low volume pullback yet again, and then sellers come back in. Now this buying up here in terms of in control, this is where it gets kind of lopsided in here. We're looking for that strong consistent buying, but we want to see it with the price movement. We don't want to see that strong consistent buying up in this corner up here. Okay, because once sellers can get below that area, then they can we look for the stop run here, in fact, and this verifies it, right? Because they're buying up here, they're not in control down here. They're in control only up here at the top, and that's like not really in control. So yeah, is this in here? I mean, there's a little bit of buying above it here, but from where it broke from here for sure. But they took control here and moved it. They're this is where it's possible to be upended, but then you can see sellers come in and move it right back down in to the range here. Okay, so at this point here, you're looking for, and we were too. We were reading it and saying, okay, let's forget our biases and look for the move back down to here and the move back down to here as well at 31.5. Now it came shy of 31.5, but it did make a lower low in here. Yeah, good stuff though. Boy, I remember there was a few days that we were looking at really challenging price, action back and forth, and it's and you see it all the time, like this in here. See where that volume is taking place. Now it's a little bit trickier because they just traded up here again with high volume, so it's starting to accept now up here, right? That's different. So we can actually get the breakout now here, 37 back up into 40 here, and here we go, right? Okay, does everyone understand that? Okay, why we're looking for this to maybe break out and see if it can continue here. There's the back and forth here, likely to continue likely to continue. The only thing that would disrupt that is the selling back down here at 37. But this is the move we've been looking for and waiting for. This could be our mean reversion trade back up into VWAP and maybe a 44.50 as well. Okay, looking pretty good. We're getting our volume up here. Now this was let's go through this variation in here. We've been going through these variations. I think they're very helpful here. Here's what we were talking about. Is I started it off talking about. I don't want to make this smaller. It's not a range. So the volume that trades up here can be upended if you get the sellers down here. Okay, and then they'll take it back down to the bottom of this range, and then you'll see a lot of selling down here, and then they get upended when buyers come back into the range and trade it back up to the other side of the range. We've seen days where it's been doing that, like it just bashes on one side, bashes on the other side, bashes on the the same side again here, and it could be kind of tricky. However, if you start to see that, like, you can really just pick up like winner after winner. It could be very high probability outcome, and boy, you can really ramp up your P&L from that if you're hitting like 70, 80, 90% of your trades there. Okay, so anyway, this was a little different here, and the reason being was that we had one barrage of buying back up here. Okay, high volume on the buy side here, and they could be trapped if we get the sellers down here. But we came back up and did it again, right? And then we did it again up here. This is looking for a breakout. Okay, so even though it's kind of, it could be trapped if you get the sellers to drive it back down into the range, but if you get acceptance up here, we're looking for it to continue. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, again, understanding these ranges and the volume and the order flow within it. Okay, the order book in here didn't really help us too much. A little bit in here, as you can see the skew, but the volume is already telling you before you get that skew. Yeah, the volume point and control has not moved. It was just that massive transaction at one price level, but it looks like it's just about to move. And the reason mine's not as high, I think I have it. Yeah, it's reset for. I think it's reset for cash. Anyway, we're looking for that mean reversion now. Okay, and we noticed it and mentioned it for that possibility in here. Okay. But can you guys see? Can you see why? I mean, now follow through. We didn't. Okay, we're looking just for the move back up to the top of this range here, and it took a little while to get up there. Now you can clearly see it in hindsight. That's no problem. Okay, in fact, it bounced off of this top of this area here a couple times, and then got continuation here. Okay, and still looking for it. Still looking for it. Okay, looking good. I'll tell you, these mean reversion traders are relentless. I don't know what you guys' experiences have been, but like, they just don't give up until they achieve what they want to achieve. So just, you can just let this kind of float on up to these areas here a lot of the times. All right, and this could turn in also to the bigger move for the day. Not just mean reversion, it can blast through it back up to 50, back up to 60. We were looking for that move over here, right around here. We're looking for a bounce off of 50 and then move back up to 60. Okay, 60, then 70, and then back up into these levels here. These guys are just waiting patiently, just waiting. These are really high levels here if we look at our higher time frame. Guys, look at our candles, and we marked up some of these levels in here. I mean, this market structure stuff is just beautiful stuff. It's just, you know, now we look for the order flow around those events in here. We talked about the potential for the pullback to this level here. In fact, we looking for immediately up here. Maybe it would bounce off of this, or in this area here, which is 50. And if it didn't, then we'd be looking for maybe the bounce off of this area down in here, which is kind of what it did. It went down a little bit lower to just below the swing here, and then the move back up. And the 5-minute chart over here on the right hand side, I'm not really seeing much until we get back up to here, to be honest. This looks like a good little area, maybe this little swing in here, as well as you know, kind of some back and forth in here. So that would be around 54, 53, 54 up in here. So let's take a look at Bookmap. Okay, looking at 53, 54 area up here, I don't see anything. So we're just looking for, we're back at VWAP already, and then we've already tested it here. Looking for the push through it and see if we can get up into 50, and then yeah, our 53, 54 area is right in here, kind of structurally. And it's really around 52 maybe. So anyway, I encourage you guys, go back and study up on your mean reversion trades. They happen around, you know, it's hard to say or quantify, the somewhere between like 10 to, you know, 11, 11:30. A lot of times you get that strong initial move in the morning, driving price. And then you get the mean reversion, and then you get the trend continuation after. So today it's kind of what we're seeing here is the strong move here from the data, the cash open here, continuation of the strong move, comes back down, retests the cash open here, the bottom. We talked about this on the higher time frame level. Okay, and the potential for this to unfold back to mean after is come back down to this level. So this is a higher time frame, you know, setup or outlook here, or at least for the day. Put it that way. It could turn into for multiple days. It's possible. Okay, I'm so bad. So that, I mean, we just had a lot of confluences down here, or we had higher time frame level in Bookmap. Okay, not on the candlestick charts, but in Bookmap in the swing down here, and then we had, you know, reasons to look at buyers to start to come in here, and then trade it back up into just these kind of you know, average levels here. I won't even say mean reversion, you know, average levels here, okay, and retest those levels. Now, David had a good point. If we did get our sellers down here, likely we'll explore and auction into this area and kind of test it out and see what traders think about this area in here, okay, because it's poorly auctioned. But you can see with the scenario that played out here is we got buyers off of that kind of bottom ledge here. And then back into VWAP, and still looking for that point of control here to test at 50. Okay, just about to get there. Okay, Yeah, I know it's a lot. There's a lot, to kind of cover, and we saw it in here. This is where we saw it. Uh, I really like that actually, because I was covering something else to say, like, look for the opposite up here, and buyers being trapped in here, and then we saw that actually fail. Okay, we got more buyers and acceptance and volume up at this level, and then down here, very little selling. Buyers come clamoring in, or charging in again. Great. All right, we're looking for this now to actually not. We're looking for follow through after this, and we got it. And then here's your pullbacks in here as well. All right, YouTubers, sorry. Let me get to a lot of your questions in here. Happy to do so. Okay, so all right, so you were looking for, and what's that? Eraser. You were looking for the back down to yesterday's distribution level, and then rejection. Okay, so the icebergs didn't you weren't really looking for it. The icebergs, you were out of your you weren't looking at them. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, like, it really, I mean, it can really be helpful to see, like, this is where it's tricky with the icebergs, is that, until this, and we don't know if this 6,000 over here, okay, and this guy covered over here down at this level, but we do have these confluences here. We have this level down here. We have maybe this guy exiting his icebergs, and then it's like, okay, well, that allows traders to come back in and trade it back up into these levels. And here we are back to 44.50. Okay, and talking about it down here around 37 or so, 36, somewhere around here. Okay, looking for the potential to the move back to 50. Okay, and it can still go 60. Highs of the day 65, a little bit above 65, 70, and then I'm just really curious about these guys up here. So that's even outside of the scope that we're looking for on our candlesticks here. Filling the gap would be here around 85. And those guys are putting their liquidity up in these areas up here 45.06, as well as 92, somewhere around in here. And we're just looking for maybe a gap fill here, back to 80, 85, 86, or something like that. And I don't see any liquidity up there in those areas. It'll likely come in a little bit later. Yeah, I was wondering about that too. If this eraser, if like this high volume node here is going to be pretty strong resistance. I'm not really sure about that. I'm kind of curious of the opposite, because we really retested back down here, and a lot of times what you see is you see it more on the downside, to be honest. You'll see the a move back down to an important level here, and it will blaze right through it. Maybe it retested once and it comes back up again. It can't make a higher high, and then it comes down here, and it just doesn't matter it's a high volume node or not. It just, the sellers cut right through it. I'm looking for buyers to cut right through this one and continue. So I'm not looking for this to be really high resistance here. at 44.50. I'm looking for it to be really kind of the launching pad for the continuation higher, to be honest. Because it kind of retested in here, and then I'm looking for that buying momentum and then just continuation. So anyway, that's a possible scenario here. Now the higher time frame scenarios, like this is why we go over all of this order flow on the lower time frame, we really need to wait and watch for that to unfold. And it's kind of a little too late in a lot of cases. Whereas it to get these points across and do it in the live market as it's unfolding or before it unfolds, and look for the scenario, really hammers home some of these order flow foundations, and really helps cement those ideas and concepts. And then that can be used on any time frame. Okay, so I'm looking for just to be blazing higher basically through that area here, and let's see if we can get it. Now we know what it looks like. Buyers in control, and just taking it higher. Low volume pullbacks, Techie Girl, MC Loco, and then continuation. Strong consistent buying like this here. Okay, pullbacks to areas where either structure or events like this one here. Now this one didn't bounce off of it, funny enough. Okay, so that tells us a little bit. Maybe that scenario is due to this order flow event. Maybe that scenario is not as likely. Okay, well, let's see if we get our buyers right now. We should. If that is the scenario, then they have to show up. There they are. See, there they are. And now that's extremely hard to catch. You have to be in this or already positioned for that scenario before this happens, and that's a big stop run too. Pull back. Also some icebergs in here. Okay, pull back, but looking for continuation. Okay, there's a beautiful low volume pullback right there. Can't get much more low volume than that. The one caveat on this move, what do you guys think it is? What would make you? I mean, we're still bullish. We're still looking for continuation. But there's something in here that because we're up at a higher price level. But what is it in here that would make you just a little more hesitant? Deep pullback, that's a good one. Yeah. Stop pick. It's the stop run up here at the higher level. Now it's only 28. Okay, it's not 493 or whatever it was we were looking at before. Okay, but that makes me a little more leery about it here. That it's a stop run. Okay. But you got to go with the order flow. Yeah, it's not that many though. That's right. I mean, like, and that helps. That puts my mind at ease a bit. It's like, okay, well, then all of that volume in here is someone coming in or larger players coming in and just they're moving it, and then they're triggering some stops. And we talked about stop runs. This is the example yesterday. Well, I'll just pose the question again. Okay, so this move here to the upside, is it likely a larger player that made that move to the upside, or is it a bunch of smaller players? What do you guys think? Yeah, larger player. Yeah. Why do you think that? Moss? Only a few stops. Yeah, and not only a few stops. Look where they're getting filled. Well, I mean, that's pretty typical. I mean, if it's a larger player comes in and just says buy, hit the buy button, and they're going to sweep the order book against themselves like this. Look at the move up here, 28 stops within this whole little area in here. Okay, there's a little bit of selling in here and in here. Okay, so maybe we had a few, we have some selling in here. Okay, so this is where the buyer, the big player came in though, right in here. Okay, right here. So it's actually a few different moves in here. It looks like some buying, heavy buying, heavy buying, heavy buying. Interesting order flow. A pretty savvy algo in here. Barrage of buying, stop, barrage of buying, stop, barrage of buying very, very quickly, or rather quickly. And then in here, so stops could have been triggered, and I'm sure they are in here, to be honest. Let's just double check that. And we'll show all stops in here. Okay, and here's 1, here's 4. See how they're getting, we're seeing the little stop runs in here, but then the 28 is this move in here. Okay, after these sellers in here, then in here, all of this buying in here, and there's a lot. Okay, 105, 28. Well, the 28 we know. 74, 77, 26. So what is that? I don't know, around 300 or so. Something a little bit shy of it. All of these orders in here, only 28 are stops, and look where they're getting filled though. Okay, so that means they could have been in here, any of these price levels, but this buyer had precedence. His orders are going to get filled first. Whatever they trigger along the way, if there's stop orders in there, they're going to get filled whenever he's finished getting filled. So you can see they're just getting stuffed and moved up into this area here. All right, and that's got to be a larger player. All right, so anyway, some interesting stuff in there. So we had a few barrages of trading in there. Okay, and now where are we here? And where is that 28? That 28's up in here. Right here. Yeah, so then we left off here. Okay, so now we got some insight in here, and it's kind of funny because there's only 28 in here, made me feel a little bit better that we'll get continuation. Okay, and I still feel that way. What you can see happen though is sellers come in at the top edge here. Okay, and then look where the sellers came in though. Look at the structure. I mean, doesn't get too much better, right? Sellers down in this area here driving it. Another big iceberg in here. So anyway, our plans, or it's this 44.50. I was looking for the quick move away from it, and continuation away from it, and you can see that there's interest in selling or dealing around this 44.50 level. Okay, and exploring things around here. All right, so that scenario didn't play out, but I was looking for it, and looking for the move higher here. All right, guys. Anyway, let me take a look around here at some of the questions. The European close has come and gone, so we're looking for more kind of a pure direction at this point. This is where sellers are in control here, from right where we drew our rectangle, but you can see even a little bit clearer here, around 51 or so. Okay, they came in and just dumped in here. Okay, they are in control. You can see the pullbacks here. Back up to this area. Now only on this time frame, okay, are they in control. from after 1135. Now you got to get buyers back up above that area for that continuation play. All right, good stuff. All right, let me get to a few more questions here. Classic support and resistance flip. Yeah, I mean it's really it's auctioning around these two kind of important levels here. We got our VWAP there. We also have a structural level here. I mean the VWAP's kind of aligning it, but you can see like the move up, consolidation, the move up. It's right in here, a little bit above VWAP, and you can see the buyers are supporting it still. Okay, they're on the bid here, and then here they come. Okay, so now we're looking for again buyers back up here above the 50 level here. The 535 running iceberg, is that a big seller? It's a selling iceberg, yes. They've already transacted 535 and they're still in the market live. Their iceberg is laying there at 44.50. Okay, we're about to see what he's made of here. There's an iceberg right in front of it, just transacted. So here we go. Let's see him. There's 585. And that's it. Another 50 traded there, you can see. Here we go again. Well, let's watch him. Love this stuff. There we go. Okay, 632 still there. 633. Okay, we have two different icebergs up here. Okay, at the same price level. It's at it's at the figure, so go figure. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, so we have a few different transactions and a few different icebergs as well. Totally absorbed so far. Can't get through it. Buyers can't get through it. Last transaction was for 2, but there's 2 different icebergs in here. Okay, let me show you where that is. More details on the stops and icebergs. Go to here. Go to our Bookmap, and let's keep this guy open here. Go to bookmap.com. Go to the More button. Go to Knowledge Base. In the knowledge base, that puts you into the user guide section immediately, and on the left hand side you have the all of the kind of outline here, but you want to go to the add-on section. So click on add-ons here. Now you're in the add-ons section, and this is the outline here, and we want to look at stops and icebergs, not subchart but on chart. So click here, on chart, and then you can scroll in here, okay, and it'll cover it. Okay, what all these different things are in here. All right guys, let's wrap it up. We'll call it a day. Thanks for coming, everybody. Look for Tom B is unfortunately he's away. Well, I mean, good for him. Geez, I mean, he streams for like 4.5 hours every day, guys. I mean, what a treasure. I mean, really, what a resource there. So he'll be back next Tuesday. But we're going to do some look for it here. I haven't announced it yet, but we're going to do some webinars in the afternoon since he's away, and just try to fill in a little bit of the space without interrupting him whatsoever, and then getting some guys for you, getting some materials for you guys to bounce around and have something in the afternoon for you. Okay, so look for that, and probably tomorrow we'll do that, and then we'll try to fill in a little bit with some of those events, and then Tom will be back on Tuesday. All right. All right, thanks guys. Thanks for coming, everybody, and we will look for those announcements, and we'll catch up with you later. Okay, good trading out there.